It's one of Alice in Chains' most deeply moving songs, and it's deeply personal for songwriter Jerry Cantrell. Rooster was titled after his father's nickname, and it was written about what Cantrell thought his dad's experience as an Army soldier in the Vietnam War was like, a war that tore apart his family and so many other families during that time. The song so closely describes the emotional distress and the aftermath for Vietnam veterans that Cantrell's father told him he hit the nail on the head when he heard it, even though the two of them had never discussed the war. It became one of Alice in Chains' biggest hits, written from the perspective of his estranged father when Cantrell was maturing as a songwriter. Let's get into the story of Rooster in this episode of the Behind the Song podcast. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe and let us know in the comments. Jerry Cantrell wrote Rooster in the early part of 1991 during a humble period in his life. Alice in Chains was just starting to get their footing with their debut, Facelift, released in August of 1990. Facelift would go gold by September of 1991, the first Seattle grunge album to do that, by the way. But in the first part of 1991, Cantrell was briefly between places to live. So he moved in with Chris Cornell and his wife, Susan Silver, who managed Alice in Chains, spending a few weeks holed up in a little room in their house in West Seattle. It was there that Cantrell began to think about his estranged father, Jerry Cantrell Sr., who had served as an Army sergeant in Vietnam. His first memory as a child was of meeting his father for the first time at age 3 when he returned home from the war. Cantrell has said that the experience in Vietnam changed him forever and certainly had an effect on the family. The environment at home wasn't good, so Cantrell's mother, Gloria, took her children to live with her mother in Tacoma, effectively leaving his father behind. It's a story that's all too familiar to other families dealing with the aftermath of war, the psychological scars of serving in Vietnam taking their toll on the veterans who survived it. As a result, Cantrell's father was not around too much when he was a child, but over time, the resentment he felt toward his dad turned and matured into empathy for him and his experience. His father had turned into a hardened person, and Cantrell said that he found himself asking if he himself would have turned out any differently had he gone through the same awful ordeal. So, thinking about his father, he started to write. The title came easy. Rooster was his father's nickname in the Army, a nickname given to him by his father as a child because his hair stood up and he had a cocky attitude. Coincidentally, Rooster was also a nickname for machine gunners in Vietnam because of how the muzzle flashes looked like a rooster's tail. Beyond that, Cantrell didn't really have much information about his father's Vietnam experience to go on because the two never talked about it while he was growing up. So he drew from his imagination, putting himself in the place his father once stood to paint the picture of what it must have been like for his dad in the war. The song starts with Cantrell and Lane Staley harmonizing on the haunting oohs that set the stage for the lyrics. And then Staley takes the lead vocal with a line that hooks you in from the start. Ain't found a way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with stinging sweat. Seems every path leads me to nowhere. Wife and kids, household pet. Army green was no safe bet. The bullet screamed to me from somewhere. In just a few lines, Cantrell depicts what it must have been like for his dad, with a young family at home, fighting a war that many back home didn't understand or want. The line, Army green was no safe bet, speaks to the disillusion of the soldiers who were made to fight in Vietnam, with no heroes welcome when they returned home. Surviving, if they could, during the war and after their return was the name of the game, as the chorus of the song outlines. Here they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah, here come the rooster. You know, he ain't gonna die. The chorus repeats, and then it's on to the next verse. Walking tall, machine gun man. They spit on me in my homeland. Gloria sent me pictures of my boy. Got my pills against mosquito death. My buddy's breathing his dying breath. Oh God, please won't you help me make it through. Cantrell name-checks his mother Gloria in these lyrics, imagining what it would have been like for his dad to receive pictures of himself as a small child while fighting in the Vietnam jungle with his friends dying all around him, only to be despised upon his return, with the political climate in his homeland vastly different from the one previous war veterans returned to. And the chorus repeats again. Here they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah, here come the rooster. You know he ain't gonna die. And the song ends as it began, with those haunting oohs, Cantrell's and Staley's voices intermingling in a wail that sounds like the desperation and sorrow of an entire generation. In the music video for the song, both Jerry Cantrell and his father are shown talking about how Vietnam impacted their lives. Cantrell said that he left the room while his father was interviewed for it, and that it was one of the only times that his father ever talked at all about his experience as a combat vet in Vietnam. In the footage, Cantrell Sr. said that it was something he wished no one would have to go through. The song served as a connector for Cantrell and his father, a major step in the healing process to rebuild their relationship. When he played him the song for the first time, it brought his father to tears, later saying that he almost got too close to what it was actually like to fight in the Vietnam War. Rooster repaired the strained relationship between father and son, and it opened doors for Alice in Chains, too. Released as the fourth single from their second album, Dirt, it went to number 7 on the rock chart. The song Rooster is so impactful to so many people because it simply painted a picture, without accusation, of how an unthinkable experience changed a man and the effect that it had on his family. By taking his father's point of view, Cantrell connected the dots on family trauma, which in turn resonated with military families who'd gone through similar experiences. Cantrell said that Rooster connected him and his father deeper than any conversation ever could, proving once again that music is so powerful when it comes to saying the important things that we often can't find words for. Are there songs that have helped you heal a relationship with someone? Something to think about. Until next time. I'm Janda, and this has been Behind the Song. If you like this episode, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Special thanks as always to Christian Lane for the music you hear on these podcast episodes. You can find me on the air at 97.1 FM The Drive in Chicago and at WDRV.com. And on the way, much more classic rock and roll.